Lucky One is to investigate Sinister One. Didn't heed this one's words. This one's friends with a Walking One in the Ash Crown Consortium. According to Friendly One, a Digging One named Medrod had an encounter with a scary Masked One. This Masked One is most certainly Sinister One. Walking One should go and speak with Digging One Medrod. Digging One is to be found at Fulgord Float in the North Shroud.
Please leave me be. I'm not long for this world. I look death in the face. 'Tis only a matter of time before he comes for me, just like he came for that poor woman.
Medrod is clearly traumatized. Perhaps if he were to sue them, he might remain calm enough to hold a conversation.
You're right. It's not as bad as it seems. I saw something terrible, that's true, but that hardly means I'm going to suffer the same fate. Thanks to you, I can think straight again. I believe I can even recount what I saw without losing it. It was just another ordinary day. I was headed back to the float when I noticed a suspicious character in the distance. A masked man garbed head to toe in black. He had a hideous fiend in tow, a winged creature that was all eyeball and jagged teeth. Taken by curiosity, I crept near as I dared. To see the corpse of a woman! One glimpse was enough to tell me that she died a gruesome death. In that instant, I knew right away that the masked man was a minion of Thal, come to claim her soul for his realm.
What? You're investigating the same masked man? If that's the case, we'll help you in whatever way we can.
Aye, anything to ensure that we won't have to suffer Medrod's hysteria ever again.
All right, teamwork. That's why I wanted to... Wait, I haven't been that bad, have I? At any rate, I'm all for helping this adventurer. It's the least I can do to repay him for comforting me. Aideen has a proposal to make concerning your investigation. So here's what I know about the deaths. All the victims were found with their faces torn to shreds. Among the local fauna, only the scalekin known as Ziz could inflict such wounds. That's why some folk are pointing the finger at them. I somehow doubt that the answer's that simple, but for the sake of thoroughness, we should look into it. Why don't you put down, say, 3 of the creatures and see if we can find any proof connecting them to the deaths? You've already seen to this is. Good work, adventurer. So you're able to find aught to suggest that the creatures are our culprits. Nothing? Truth be told, even if there were proof, I wouldn't know what it looked like. Anyway, I believe we can safely strike Ziz from our list of suspects, which leaves us with the masked man and his winged eyeball. Evervault has information to share with you regarding your investigation.
There is something you should know. I've been keeping this to myself lest I worsen Medrod's paranoia, but I too have seen the winged eyeball. I cannot say whether it was a coincidence, but my sighting took place precisely the same time as Medrod's. I was heading home one day after digging when a shadow fell over me. Looking up, I found myself locked in the gaze with a giant eyeball. I let out a scream at the top of my lungs and ran without once looking back. This happened at the rocky area west of here, in case you had a mind to investigate. A monstrous bane mite appeared, and you slew it. That creature had long been a scourge upon the folk of Fallgord. Attention will know, you have done us a great service. You have my gratitude. But this does make me wonder, was it truly a winged eyeball I saw, or merely a trick of the light combined with blind panic?
Aideen has further knowledge of the mysterious deaths. There's something else I heard about the deaths. It appears all victims have been comely maidens. I'd better watch myself, huh? Unseemly japes aside, there's a rumor that's been going around. There's some whisper that after each victim died, her rancor went into a great... Let me try this over again. Unseemly japes aside, there's a rumor been going around. There's some as whisper that after each victim died, her rancor went into the great big rock southwest of here, causing it to flash and moan. This bears investigating, I reckon. I'm going to give you a fire sand stick to blow off a piece of that crag. The stick doesn't come with a fuse or anything, so you have to throw the thing. Once you torn the rock a new one, brings back some of the fragments, and I'll give them a gander. Most most folks are too scared to go within 100 yalms of the Rock of Rancor. Aye, it has a name, but what's a few vengeful spirits to a dauntless adventurer like you, eh? Bigger than a shard, but not quite large enough to be a cluster. The energies emitted by this crystal lightly tingle in the hands of any who touch it. Huh? Why, these are just your garden variety crystals. 'Tis a bit hard to tell beneath the dirt and grime, but they're definitely lightning aspected. Excuse me. I almost hate to say it, but that explains the flashing and moaning. Nothing to do with the masked stranger. Looks like I've gone and wasted both your time and a perfectly good fire sand stick. Oh well. Midrad is troubled by the dearth of new developments in the murder investigation. There's been no promising leads in the murders. I can scarce get a wink of sleep knowing that the killer is still at large. Judging by your furrowed brows, I take it that this sorry business troubles you as much as it does me. I've been pondering my encounter. I was uncertain for a time, but there can be no doubt. It was a winged eyeball that I witnessed. It's implausible that I could have mistaken so distinct a creature for a bane mite. But you and I were moms apart. How could we have both seen it at precisely the same time? What's more, our adventure friend had a run-in with a bane mite at the very spot you claimed to see the fiendish eyeball. Isn't that right? There must be an explanation. I know I saw an eyeball with wings. I would wager an apple tart on it. Oh, he's serious. But listen, mayhap it's not as mysterious as we're making it out to be. There's no reason why there couldn't be... Gods, of course! There must be more than one of the buggers! It's so obvious. But then that means, since there's been repeated sightings of these fiends, then there must be even more victims as yet undiscovered. I do believe we're out of our depth. We ought to leave the rest to the expert. Yes, we're just civilians after all. Good luck, adventurer. It was a pleasure knowing you. I burn to know the truth. Some things are best left unknown, lest you have forgotten. It was at the rocky area to the west I had my encounter. Should you discover aught of note, you'll want to alert the authorities. There is a guardhouse nearby. The serpents there should be pleased for any information that pertains to the security of the region. Greetings, adventurer. Is there aught I might assist you with? The body of this poor soul has been defiled in more ways than one. Gods be good, not again. No matter how many bodies I see, I cannot seem to get used to the horrid sight. Poor woman. Identical deaths have been reported in the central shroud. Where the masked stranger you seek does not seem to feature in any, sightings of the winged eyeball are common enough. The creature appears to be moving the bodies, but to what end none can say.
Victims have all been young women. All are found with their faces mutilated beyond recognition. It's been difficult to identify them, so as to notify their next of... This button, engraved with a lily motif. The very same object was found upon another victim. A family sigil? Or that of an organization, perhaps? Either way, I dare hope that this find will prove pivotal in solving the murders. Aethelmere wants you to hold on to the button. I would have you hold on to the lily button. You'll need it to continue your investigation. While it isn't standard procedure to entrust key evidence to individuals, you have proven yourself reliable and resourceful in this matter. I see no reason why you shouldn't carry on your work. If I might make a suggestion, you may wish to take the button to Gridania and have it examined by Mayone. Perhaps someone in her vast network of contacts can shed light upon its sigil.
Good day to you, Raide. By your grim expression, I suspect you aren't here for scones and herb tea. The lily sigil is carved into this tiny ivory button. Well, isn't this a lovely little button? The engraving is quite exquisite. Artisan level quality, I would say. Where did you say you found this? On a dead body. Lovely. Anyway, I'm afraid I did not recognize the lily sigil. You'll have to find the answer the old-fashioned way, by asking around. You could do worse than beginning with Bernadette, over by the Aetherite Plaza. She has a sharp pair of eyes, that one. Need help tracking down the owner of a button? That's certainly not a request I receive on a regular basis. Well, go on then, show me what you have. Seems to be some manner of decorative button, reminiscent of those worn by the families of old, though I cannot claim to know its sigil. However, I can say with certainty that the white lily is a recurring theme in Gridanian culture. Alas, I do not know who would make a personal sigil of it. If there's a soul in Gridania it does, it would be Singild over at the Lancers Guild. The woman makes a point of knowing all the citizens on a forename basis. Whoops. Bernadette believes that I can help you. Well, that is a rather bold assumption to make. I will try to assist, never you fear, but whether aught comes of this is another matter. Now then, what do you require of me? Fascinating. Work of this quality is rarely seen in the hands of ordinary Gridanians. The owner of this button is certainly most certainly well-to-do. You may wish to take your search to the Gentry's Ward, northwest of here. Wait, a memory comes to me. Of late, there has been a man who is perpetually seated at the bench by the ward's entrance. His name is Ursunil, and I distinctly recall him markedly similar button upon the breast of his jacket. I dare say he could tell you a thing or two about it.
I do not believe we are acquainted. Pray leave me to my thoughts. The sigil of Danticor's family. How is it that you came to be in possession of this button? From the body of a murdered woman? Her face, was it marred in any way? I had feared as much. I can no longer feign ignorance. I shall reveal to you the truth of the many deaths, but on one condition: you promise to put an end to my lady's madness and fear from her torment.
Ursynadil has a confession to make regarding the mysterious murders.
I was once a manservant in the employ of one of the oldest and proudest families of Gridania, the Danticours. During that time I had the honor of waiting upon Lady Amandine, mistress of the household. Fair as a summer was she, and possessed of a heart befitting her radiance. Alas, the calamity wrought a great change in her. Though my lady escaped with her life, death may have well been a kinder fate. Never will I forget that the day the bandages were removed, and she beheld her disfigured face for the first time. At that moment, the kindly woman I know ceased to be. Unable to bear the thought of being seen, my lady sequestered herself within her chambers and refused all company. This continued for many uneasy moons, until one day, without warning, she began receiving queer guests. None among us knew whence they came, these masked men, but my lady believed that it would help her regain that which she had lost. So began the rites of rejuvenation. These rituals seemed innocent enough in the beginning, but grew even more grotesque as time went by. Eventually, there came a day where my lady bound one of her handmaidens to her bed and proceeded to mutilate the poor girl's face. Suffice it to say, she did not survive the ordeal. It fell to me to dispose of her body. I performed the dreadful task as bade, obedient servant that I was, but when the time came to return to the house, my legs refused to move. I knew then that I could not go back to that place, not after the nightmare I had witnessed. So it was that I left Haukke Manor, my home for nigh on half a century. Long did I weep for the girl who was slain, and longer still for the woman that Lady Amandine had been. Yet one cannot weep forever, and I was endeavored to put the matter behind me. Indeed, I had resolved never to speak of my experience until you appeared before me. My lady's madness must be ended, lest more innocent lives be lost. Lay her tormented soul to rest, so as you swore to me you would. She awaits you at Haukke Manor, on the western edge of the central shroud. Go and do what must be done.
Dark forces are at work here. Let's not waste any time with this one. think we can use this flow of magic to return to the manor entrance. There we go. Let us put this wayward soul to rest. darkness has taken root within these halls, sprung from the most unlikely of seeds. One cannot help but admire the irrepressible spirit that quickened it to life. It is a pleasure to meet you at last, adventurer. You are every bit as intriguing as our master gave us to believe. It is no ordinary mortal who can capture one crystal of light, much less 3. The crystals make you strong, and it is to that strength that the light is drawn. Hydaelyn chose well. A pity that your existence is irreconcilable with our own. We cannot well allow you to continue upon your present course. Alas, we came here not to play, but to take the measure of your strength for Master Laha Breya. That task now accomplished, we take our leave of you. Fare you well, bringer of light.
Your return! By what sights awaited you within the manor? What has become of Lady Amadine? You must tell me all. So she went so far to consort with devils. With that I could have done more to prevent her fall. May she finally find peace in the beyond. I know not whether the masked men you encountered are the same pair that first led my lady astray, but it is plain they are the same vile brood. Should the chance ever present itself, promise me you will visit upon them tenfold the woe that they have brought upon others. But who am I to speak of punishment? By my silence I allowed I know not how many innocent young women to die in unspeakable circumstances. It matters not wherefore. Though misplaced loyalty, cowardice, or both, I am abettor to a gross crime. I will surrender myself to the authorities and accept whatever punishment they deem just. I only pray that the gods will have mercy on my soul.
Welcome back, Raide. Full glad am I see you safely returned. Tell me, how fared you upon your sojourn to the Twellswood? Two of Laha Brea's minions, and they sought to measure your strength by their own admission? The devils taunt us. It is beyond doubt, then. The Ascians have begun to move in earnest. What that we knew to what end. Yet I will not bemoan our plight. Thanks to your tireless efforts, we are at least aware of the encroaching darkness. Alas, we can only do so much. It is clear to me now that we Ascians are too few to protect the realm against this threat unaided. We must needs alert the three nations to the presence of this elusive enemy, and I recommend that they heighten their vigil. There is no shortage of misery in the world that the Ascians might exploit. We have an endurous struggle ahead of us. Yet, come what may, we must not allow ourselves to become lost to hope, for that is precisely what the enemy desires. We have gleaned all we can from this information available to us. Let us set this investigation aside for the present. Another matter has arisen that requires your attention. Let me know when you are ready to be briefed, and I will summon the others.